For those of you guys who don't know us, my name is Stephanie Feger. I am a book marketing strategist, and I have the pleasure of getting to work with the amazing Sandy on a lot of things book marketing.
Yes.
Sandy, introduce yourself. They want to know who's this lovely Sandy lady.
I am Sandy Wiles, and I am a website designer / developer / builder.
Slash everything.
Yeah, everything website I can possibly handle. Stephanie and I have worked together on several author sites. I primarily work with small business owners, nonfiction authors.
Sandy and I met because we were working with another author, and it just evolved a beautiful friendship where now we help other authors and entrepreneurs out there really build kind of their digital platform. Any of you guys watching today will be monitoring the chat, so feel free to post stuff in the chat or you can comment later, and Sandy and I will answer and respond accordingly. But today, we thought it would be wonderful on Tuesday, 2/2/2/2/2, the Tuesday of February 22nd, 2022. I've been having a lot of fun with that with my kids right now, but we thought it'd be fun to hop in and do a live video with you guys, specifically on a topic that we're going pretty deep in, Sandy, on the Empowered Author podcast, which is all things author websites and really how websites create kind of a digital hub for you. So we've had a lot of fun when we were planning this. We're going to talk through, gosh, I've got 5 topics if we have enough time to get through it in the next 30 minutes. And we're going to give you our 2 favorite things about each of those topics. So that you can start using it now. But Sandy, first off, let's just lay the groundwork and say, this is what we've said on the podcast. This is what you need to hear right now. If you're an author and you're listening now or later and you're questioning, do I need a website? Don't question it anymore. The answer is yes, you do. And it's just which one do you need and what type do you need and what all do you need on it? And that's where working and collaborating with people who understand this, live and breathe this, can help you. All right, Sandy, you ready to dive in? Ready. All right, so first things first, we want to give our top 2 reasons on why authors need websites. And the first one, Sandy and I kind of live and breathe, and that's the fact that it is a visibility platform. Sandy, add a little bit to that. Tell me more about what you think on that.
It is a place for you to really share a little deeper who you are, what your mission is, what your passions are, why you wrote your book. There is a lot more that you can share in a very central spot about you as an author and a person than I think you can on a lot of other platforms.
Well, and let's be real, as an author, or really in any business, the first thing people do when they're trying to figure out, when they learn about you or they're interested in your topic, is they go and Google you. They go and search you. They want to look at what your story and your message is all about on the digital business platform, the digital platform out there. And if you're not there, you're missing something. People might not see you as credible as you really are. And I'm especially talking, nonfiction and fiction authors both need this, but especially in the nonfiction space where you are teaching somebody something, you're sharing a part of your expertise with people. Y'all, you need a website.
I think it lends a lot of credibility that you're not going to get on Facebook or any of the other social platforms. There's credibility there. You're speaking, yep. You're posting, but there's something about having your own home built just for you.
Yes. Oh, we talk about that on our podcast about how a website and domain and hosting and all that. That episode's coming up. So if you've not tuned in to the Empowered Author podcast, you're going to want to, because in a couple of episodes we talk about the importance of knowing your digital address and your home and the land in which it lives on and all that fun stuff. Yeah, but so number 1, you need a website for visibility purposes, hands down. Number 2 is your product offers. And Sandy, talk to me a little bit about, from your perspective, the types of things that authors could be considering as a product offer.
I think speaking, it may not feel like an offer, but speaking engagements are offers, services, coaching, group workshops. There are a lot of ways you can use your book and your message to create service offerings
Absolutely. And I think, if we just, as authors, many of us, our books live and breathe on Amazon. They're on other places, but Amazon's kind of a monopoly here when it comes to book sales. And if you look at Amazon as your only form of digital presence, you're really missing an opportunity, because as an author, this is why I talk about authorpreneurs too. Many authors think, oh, I published a book, I'm done. But the moment you've published a book, you've launched a business. You have launched into entrepreneurship. And especially nonfiction authors out there, many people are going to read your book and be interested in doing something else with you. So just like what you said, Sandy, a website helps you do that, and it can sell for you without you having to do the selling.
It is less distracting for people. If I'm on Amazon, guaranteed I am going to be distracted by a bunch of other things that are catching my attention.
Yep. Oh my gosh. And with how many messages we get all at once. And yes, I'd rather them to be distracted on all the other things that we can do to work together versus other author books, other books out there. Okay. I love that. So the two things on why you need a website: for visibility purposes and as your product offerings, and sharing word about the product offerings. All right. Number 2 of our 5 ideas we have that we want to share with you all today are the fundamentals. Kind of what are 2 things that every author website needs? Like hands down. And we've done a ton, but we've also done a ton of research, and we've tested, and we've used me as an example. And through that process, there's really more than 2, but we narrowed down to the 2 things that we think every author website needs. And the first one is content. That's like a bucket. We're going to lump content, copy, and all that in together. Sandy, share a little bit more on what you mean, or what you think that, kind of could entail.
And I tell people I need your content. I am talking about all of it. Copy, photography, images, book stacks. There's so much involved in the content that goes into the website. And we're trying to keep everything into 2 buckets, so it's a little bit harder, but we're saying content is all the things that go in.
All the things that help express your message. And I think some things people overlook, in my opinion, are strong content. Just because you're an author doesn't mean you are fantastic at writing website content or copy. Sandy gets on my butt all the time about that. It's like, hey, there's a shift in what website copy is all about. And so you want to make sure you've got really good, strong, kind of pithy content there. But I think a lot of people overlook the kind of brand identity, which we'll talk about in a minute. But also your photography. Oh my gosh, photos can tell so much about a story without you having to write about it. So you got to make sure you've got your content, and that a lot of that stems from having a strong brand message.
Absolutely. If you're a personal brand, and if you're a nonfiction author, you are most likely a personal brand. Having good photography of you as a person is vital.
Yes, lifestyle. People want to see you. They want to see you in different ways versus just a headshot. Please get photos. And Sandy, because I know how much photography, how important it is in website design, the next season of the Empowered Author podcast is on all things photography. So we go there and we dig deep with my favorite photographer. The second thing in the fundamentals is the opt-in. Dun, dun, dun. Yes. The opt-in. Some people are like, what is an opt-in? I don't even know what that word means.
Do I really need an opt-in? Yes, you do. Absolutely.
You do. You totally do. And this is why I think this is a differentiator between like leveraging social media and your website. In social media, you can have engagement with people, and that sounds really great, but what happens when the great Facebook, Instagram blackout happen again, and you have something really important, you were going to launch your book that day, or you had something super exciting to share, and you can't because you don't own or manage the relationships. People can opt in and they can follow you, but in theory, Facebook owns that contact information. Having an opt-in on your website allows you to have real-time engagement with people that have said, yes, I love what you're doing and I want to stay connected. right? It helps you build a relationship. So when we're talking about an opt-in, we're talking about something on your website where people will raise their hand, give you their email, typically for something in return.
Yes, of course.
Yes. And what are some of your favorite opt-ins, Sandy?
Well, I think for nonfiction authors, a lot of it is there are workbooks that can be created around your book. I think that's always huge because it takes people a little bit deeper into the book and gives them some actionable steps to take, you know, while they're reading or after they're done reading. They can do it in a group, you know, as a group.
Yeah, like a book study or a book club.
Yeah, so that is actually one of my favorites.
I like that. I also really like reflections. You know, if you were doing if your book has something to do with instituting a change in someone's life, sometimes it takes more than just reading the book for that to happen. So I just, little shameless plug over here. I don't know if you've read that. Did you read Atomic Habits, my friend?
Shh, not yet. It's on my list.
Sandy, it's so good. It's so good. I finished it this morning. It took me a while to read it because be prepared. Every page, you're going to get something from it. And every time you're like, oh, but I got to do this. I got to do this. So I read the book, but now's where the real work happens. And I think as nonfiction authors, we want to think about things in that way. They're going to read the book, but we don't want them to read it, put it away, and never implement. So if you can create a 5-day reflection or a lift from the book into your life kind of series, you could even create a mini podcast season of 6 episodes and host it on a private hosting site so the rest of the world can't get it unless they opt in. So I want you to think about what will move your readers to say, I want to follow this person and I'm going to give them my email address to do it.
I need that thing. We did a beautiful website for leadership and a simple checklist of, are these pieces in place in your corporation for leadership?
Oh, yeah, no, I loved it. Yeah. We created it for him too. It was wonderful.
Absolutely.
I know. Our team can pull it all together. We've got all the skills. Okay, so for basic fundamentals on the things that you need on your website as an author website, our two favorites, there's a lot more, but our two favorites are content, making sure people know who you are and how you can help them, and the opt-in. Okay, moving on to our third highlight for today's LinkedIn Live, and that's what are 2 things you can do right now that can help kind of increase your website presence or your digital presence, make your website stronger, something you can implement today. We didn't want to leave you with like a ton of ideas that you didn't feel like you could execute. And so we wanted to give you 2 tips, 2 ideas. And Sandy, the first one that you and I came up with is making sure that you are really speaking to your reader through your brand. What do you think about that? What are some thoughts that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think now we had 2 tips, and I think they're probably closely related.
Yes. Well, the second tip is about content. So the first one's about understanding your reader.
Yeah, and that it's easy to say, I get it. I speak to them with the words,
right?
But there's a whole other look, feel, design, brand, voice. All of it has to speak to your people, not just the words that you're saying.
And I think this is something authors in general are challenged with from the moment of writing the book. You've got, if you choose to publish a book, you choose to do it, you've chosen to that avenue as opposed to other avenues of spreading the word. And if that's the avenue you choose, my challenge is always, okay, great. It's not just about sharing your story, but it's sharing your story in a way that is going to leave an impact, evoke change, make a difference in the life of somebody. And with that mentality, it's important to realize and remember that it's not about you, it's about them. So our goal is for them, the reader, to be inspired. So I think that same mentality, and when you're writing a marketable book with that audience-centric, reader-centric perspective, that same mentality needs to come to the table when you're looking at your website. There's nothing worse than going and evaluating and taking a peek at a website and going, oh my gosh, they just wrote all of the things they're great at. They didn't speak to the problems or needs I have as a reader or potential client or anything in between. So we really, I think what you could do right now is take a review of your own website and step back and go, do my readers really care? Do they really care about all this stuff? Right. What do they care about that I don't have here? Mm-hmm. And many times on websites, less is more.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think looking at it from a standpoint of, say you wrote a book about meditation and your website is hot pink and neon green. Like, you have to look at,
You mean that doesn't motivate you to to meditate?
I don't think I meditate to those colors. So you have to kind of look at the big picture. Look at your website and think, if my ideal that person that I've been dying to work with got here, would they feel this feeling? Would they get what I'm trying to get across?
I haven't shared this with you, so I'm sharing it with you live. But you're going to like this. Recently, I was referred. The Empower PR group was referred from another author of mine that is current client to a new potential client. And I was able to see kind of the conversation back and forth before it got to me. And in the message, this connection that my client had made the comment, oh, I just checked out her podcast and I really found it very insightful. And then I checked out her website and I totally dig her vibe. And I was like, oh, that's music to my ears, because
we just finished that sucker.
Well, we just finished that sucker. So if y'all haven't checked it out, go to empowerprgroup.com for sure. But in addition, it confirmed for me that all of the stuff we worked on made sense, because I know most people aren't going to read all the content until they need it. What I really want is to ensure that when they get there, that there's this kind of beautiful blend of confidence with innovation, with authenticity, and real, and she got that, and that felt so good, and it helped someone, want to take the next step. And that's what a website can do.
Having a team, it's not a two-person, it's a team that helps us really fine-tune all of the pieces, the copy, the brand. There is somebody who specializes in each of those. And I think that's what just makes it so much better.
Exactly. And finding a team that you trust through the process and will help you meet your needs, but also push back when needed. And sometimes you won't find people who do both.
Yeah, I will push back.
Our team has a beautiful blend of constructive criticism and positive reinforcement while pushing you forward to achieve your greatest potential. There you go. Perfect. Good thing this is recorded. I'll capture that later. Okay, so and the two things that you could do right now to implement, one is to make sure you're speaking to your target reader today, and that probably requires you to take a peek and reevaluate just review your website and make sure that you're doing that. The second thing is, what I would consider a way to draw people to your website, and that is creating content that is going to pull people back. A book I love, and I love it, is They Ask You Answer. If you all haven't read that, you totally should. It's about inbound marketing, which is what blog or video content can do. But I find too many times that people feel like they've created a website and they're done. One and done. Yay, check. It's off the list, right? But it's not. You need to keep finding ways to bring people back to your website.
Yes. Yeah. And there are a lot of ways. I know it can feel like blogging is the only answer. And
it's not.
It's time consuming, but it's not. There are so many ways to keep your content fresh and moving, and video is key. You could do a LinkedIn Live.
You could do a LinkedIn Live.
Your website.
And you could incorporate it. You know what, Sandy? I'm just going to do that as an example for today, we'll turn this LinkedIn Live into a blog on the Empower PR group. So you all can go under the insights and you'll see what we're talking about. And the reason you want to do this is because it takes people multiple times to see something before they realize that they need it and they really see it. I think back to, this is not a very pleasant example, but it's the one that comes to my mind. When my grandmother was diagnosed with cancer, my mom would tell me, why am I seeing so many cancer things? And y'all, this was over a decade ago. So it was before, before people were listening into our chats via Alexa or whatever, right?
Okay.
Or Siri or whatever. It was before, advertising got that focused. And I told Mom, I said, we've always been inundated with this information. You just weren't ready to hear it. And now that it's applicable to your life, now your eyes are open. Mm-hmm. And so we want people to keep coming back to our website because they might not want to buy the book today, but they might find later they're looking for a perfect gift for somebody, and then they see something from you and it triggers, oh my gosh, I need to go get that book, or what have you.
Yeah. I mean, they could be part of an organization that is doing a some kind of workshop, and they're out searching for the perfect speaker for that event.
Yes. And I had somebody the other day schedule a call with me, and I didn't realize she'd been watching my LinkedIn posts, but the first thing she said is, "Oh, I've been watching," which is a little creepy. Yeah, but it's proof that if you don't get engagement, it doesn't mean people aren't observing, watching, soaking in, and that they're not going to your website. So you want to keep and look at your website. You want to keep it dynamic. A static website, that's not what Sandy... We can make a static website for you, but that's not our goal. We would much prefer you to have a dynamic website.
Absolutely.
Okay, so 2 things you can do right now is you can evaluate, make sure all of your content is speaking to your reader, and you can create content that's going to draw new readers in. Okay, we've got 2 more out of our 5, Sandy, and I think we're going to have time. Yay! 2 mistakes authors make when it comes to author websites. Is there only 2? Are there only 2? I think there's more than 2. But we're just going to focus on the 2. The first one, let's talk about the details, my friend, because I think that's a big one.
Devil's in the details. I'm a detail person. I look, when I go to a website, and I'm sure not everybody does, but I look at all the detail. I look at the footer. And if it has some weird stuff down there that's not...
Update your footer to this year, guys. Don't have it copyright 10 years ago.
WordPress and not you, or...
Yes.
I mean, there's so many issues, that...
Yes.
But it's just details. For me, it is always... The littlest things make the biggest impact on a website. And it's space and room to breathe, white space, simplicity, details. All in the details.
One of my favorite details that you did to my author website, which is different, y'all, from my from the Empower PR Group website. If you go to stephaniefeger.com, that's the author website I have. The scroll bar. It's my favorite detail, Sandy.
I know, and I did it just for you because I remember you saying,
"You're so sweet."
Bar, that was a color. And
I had somebody tell me the other day they noticed that detail.
Really?
They did. They were like, "Oh, that is a really fun detail." It's also on empowerprgroup.com. But yeah, I didn't know you could change the scroll bar to match your brand colors. It's beautiful. Or the little, what is the icon called in the tab? I always mess it up. What's it called?
The little favicon.
Favicon. I want to call it the Flavocon, but there's no L in there. I always want to stick
when I look at a site and if it still has the platforms, it is a very small detail. But to me, branding your every inch of it makes a big difference.
Yeah, you mentioned spacing. We are big fans of having space. First of all, I need space in my life, right? And I need it when I'm reading too. If it's all crunched, it overwhelms me, just like it can be all crunched in life and I get overwhelmed too. So space and icon use and consistency. Oh my gosh, consistency. Huge. So yes, I do think a mistake authors make is not being focused on the details.
Yeah, there is
they might,
difference. You know, if you look at two websites side by side and one has really taken care of the details, there's definitely a difference visually.
Well, and to be honest, the people who are authors that also do speaking engagements, I would venture to say, I've not done the research, but I feel confident that authorpreneur sites that focus on the details and those that don't, the ones that focus on the details likely get a higher speaking fee than those who don't, right? Because it already levels up how people see you when they come to the conversation, when they reach out to you. They have a higher expectation of knowing what your speaker fee probably is, and those people likely get it. I feel very confident in that one.
Yeah, it absolutely elevates your brand.
It does. It does. Okay, the second mistake is that authors don't consider a website their main platform.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a big one.
That's huge. That is really big.
That is a big one.
Yeah, I think if you're considering anything else your main platform, and no rule is, there's always exceptions to rules. However,
absolutely,
I really believe that especially for authors, having a place that is yours is key to just, creating we said it before, your home, that place where people come. You have control a little bit more over sharing it, right? You could share it on Facebook or LinkedIn, and as much as I love all of the platforms, I'm still at the mercy of the algorithm. And,
you are.
Getting it out to people is just difficult at times.
It is, and I think, the authors that come to the table and say, I have a Facebook author page, like that's where I send people. And you can do that. You can get a domain, a URL domain, and redirect to that. You can, but there's so many restrictions that come with those platforms. And again, what happens when a blackout happens?
Right. And you wrote a book because you have a passion for what you wrote about, obviously, or you wouldn't have written a book about it.
Exactly.
And you can share that passion on your website, I feel, a whole lot better than you can share it on another platform.
Absolutely. Now you can integrate your website into the other platforms.
Sure.
Like there's ways in the about to connect. But I think you should always start with the website as your home base.
Yes.
Always.
I feel like everything should direct back to your website as opposed to kind of a spider web of things, email marketing and social media and all of the places that you are linking to each other. I always bring it back to that main spot.
Absolutely. Okay, so 2 mistakes. Ignoring the details, and you don't consider a website your digital platform.
Yes.
All right, we have like a minute and a half left. I think we can do the last 2. Oh, I'm so proud of us, Sandy. We've done really good. What are 2 ways we can help people?
Yes.
Yeah. So first one, obviously, this is something we offer to anybody we already work with, and that is, like a digital presence audit and a website audit. How can we help you until we know what you look like online? Like what does the digital hub look like? And that helps us figure out where there's gaps and opportunities.
And even as a web designer, I get feedback on my website because I need that unbiased opinion on what did I miss, So it helps to have somebody come and look at your entire digital presence.
Yeah, someone also that isn't super connected to you all the time, right? Like it's like, I can ask my husband for advice and he's going to give me lovely advice because he loves me. But I need someone who does this for a living to come to the table and go, okay, we still love you, but we're going to provide feedback in a way that's going to help elevate you because we care and we want you to do that. So definitely our team has the potential or the capacity to support you by doing an audit, whether or not you use us to create websites or fill the gaps. We're happy to share the audit. The other would be, we have many other options. We just picked two because we're playing on the twos, is let's do a marketing session, a deep dive brainstorming session with you on getting an opt-in in place. I have found some really great opt-in options for others and some that kind of fall short. So we can help you by not just creating the idea of the opt-in, we can actually create the opt-in and all of the infrastructure that's needed to support that on your website too. Yeah. That's kind of fun. I like that one. That's kind of super, super innovative and gets my brain going many times when we get to do that.
To your motto of
we don't focus on, but how does it go? We don't believe in movement without strategy. Yes. You must have strategy. So we're not going to come to the table and just say, this is the cookie cutter. Instead, we come to the table and really ensure that it's methodical to support your strategy. Sandy, today was so much fun.
It was. I can't believe we got through all of that in a half hour.
All of it. When we were brainstorming, I'm like, I don't know if we'll get there, but we did. That's wonderful. Thanks so much for doing this with me today. And for those of you guys listening, tune in. There's still several episodes of the Empowered Author podcast to come where Sandy and I will be on talking about all things author websites, and we will go in the nitty-gritty in this season, the 6-episode season. We also have several episodes that have come out thus far. You don't want to miss them. Go back, dig in. You will enjoy. Sandy, it's always good seeing you.
You too, and I'm sure I will see you soon.
Absolutely. See ya. Bye.